Soundstripe.
Welcome to South End Supporters, the St. Louis City SC podcast powered by Ready Live Wellness and coming at you from the Warrior Logo Wear studio. Eric Cole here with the Monday Morning center back Dave Wyckoff, as our buddy DH David Heck is still out this evening, but we're going to carry on without him, even though the submissions are just never as fun without him because he comes up with stuff that you just never should think of, we'll say. So he's got a little bit of the creative thought process there.
He's got a lot of FOMO right now is what he's got because he loves the Thursday sode, just like everybody loves the Thursday sode because we get those Felix's Pizza Pub, South End submissions, and this week we've got so many. It's so good being part of No Goal Patrol's Discord, and you've got the regulars, the Facebook and the Instagram and the Twitter, but we've also got Reddit. Oh, it's going to be just an absolute it's going to be great. I kind of want to just just go past the preview, but I wouldn't do that to our fine friends at STL Kolache and Sunset Hills. But it's going to be a quick preview. The live read, we'll spend more time on the live read and talking about the Kolaches than we actually will talk about the preview. How's that?
You know what? I'm fine with that because I enjoy Kolaches more than I do seeing Seattle's ugly green uniforms. So
yes.
Dave, why don't you let us know about the fine folks?
The one person, the one person that loves those unis is DH. He loves them, and you'll get to see them likely in all their just disgustingly putrid glory on Saturday night late game. DH will not be watching this game, by the way. There's no way he stays up for this game.
No way he's staying up for that. But I tell you what, if you are fading out, that bright green from the TV screen will wake you up real quick, like a flash of train headlights coming your way. So no worries on that end. So
yes,
but tell us about.
This is your match day preview. Match week. This would be match day 11, right? We're through 10 games. Is that right?
I believe so.
Yeah, match day 11 preview sponsored by STL Kolache in Sunset Hills, home of the world famous Kolache. We're past Lent now. So I'm thinking that you probably can't get the Crab Rangoon, but maybe if you're nice, maybe if you go talk to EC, maybe he'll hook you up. Maybe you got to order a dozen of them. But they do have that chicken enchilada. They're the original home of the chicken enchilada Kolache. Let's see here. 1530 South Kirkwood Road, the intersection of Kirkwood Road and Watson next to Highway 44. Kolaches are delicious, soft, yeast-based dough that's wrapped around a sweet or savory filling. If you've never had one before, you are missing out. I was in our work meeting this morning, and we were talking about how now that we've been going through an office remodel, and somebody brought donuts today. The donuts were great, but I couldn't help but think, we could have really made this quite the event if we had called STL Kolache in Sunset Hills and told EC, we've got 20 or 30 people in the office today. Let's get some kolaches, man. We want you to deliver some kolaches. But we'll save that for another time. I personally would have gone with the egg and chorizo, a couple of those for breakfast. That's the way to go, but you can never go wrong with the sausage gravy, too. That's the all-time favorite of sausage gravy. But I was feeling some chorizo this morning. So, STL Kolache, 1530 South Kirkwood Road, intersection of Kirkwood Road and Watson in Sunset Hills next to Highway 44. STL Kolache, we make breakfast better, and we also bring you the Match Day 11 preview. As we said, going up against Seattle this week. Pretty wild that they'll have finished up their games with Seattle before the summer.
No,
I don't. When you watch some of these other leagues and you don't see that. Like you'll play the whole round of teams first before you get a repeat. So. And interesting that they'll be done with Seattle unless they see them in Open Cup or playoffs. They'll be done with Seattle for the season after this. But we like to start with the betting lines because we've been known to place wagers on this show. And my responsibility is FanDuel. DH is not here this week, so DraftKings doesn't exist. So if you are a DGen and you're looking for some hot gambling action this week, the three-way betting line, this is juicy, man. And we got to get into. I wish DH was here because he was on City. At plus 320, and I know he was probably crushed by that Blanco. Although knowing him, he may have hedged or maybe even cashed out. I'm not sure. But this week, three-way bet, Seattle Sounders are minus 185 favorite, plus 290 to tie. St. Louis City are plus 500 in the three-way bet. If you go to draw no
500.
bet, if you go to draw no bet, the Sounders are a minus 500 favorite, and City are plus 380 dog. City have beaten this team once already within the last 6 weeks,
Right.
right? I, I
Yeah.
just I still think that that they're asleep at the wheel, and why they. To be fair, Seattle is a really hard place to play any sport. But the Sounders bring it. They've got more capacity stadium wise than anybody does, and that's a decent team out there, right? They're getting healthier now. They got Morris back last week. Ariola's out with the ACL for the season, but Morris also went out. He subbed in at the 60th last week and subbed out at 90. So we don't know if he re-aggravated that previous injury that he had, but like I said, City's already beaten this team once this year, so kind of crazy. It's a little juicy. We were talking on the Tuesday show about how this is really it's been a tough run of games. You started this 4-game run with Columbus, even though it was at home. Columbus, the best team in the East. Then Vancouver came in, best team in the West. You gave Vancouver everything they could handle, almost nicked 3 points out of that game. And then last week, you go out to BMO and you survived the onslaught in the first half and you took it to LAFC in the second half, arguably outplayed them in the second half for the most part, and should again nick 3 points. So why all of a sudden going up to Seattle? Maybe it's because of the turnaround coming back to the Midwest and then heading back out west. But I think City's live in this game, man. I think that's a live dog at plus 380. Scored one goal against scored one goal against Vancouver. No, it was a 0-0 draw. Is that right? I'm losing my mind.
Yeah.
Well,
Vancouver
scored
was 0-0. We went 2-1 to Columbus.
2-1 to Columbus. So scored two last week against LAFC. The offense is not great, but trending up, getting healthier. I'm picking City to take this one, man. I think that they've been showing signs of improvement, and let's see what the health is. I have a sneaking feeling that you might see Roman Berkey this week. I don't know, just reading the tea leaves, you might see him this week. And word is that Leuven will be back in full training, so while he might not start, he might be available off the bench. We know that Tots is probably down for a while. We know that Kessler's probably down for a while. Zonde, in another week of training, might get him into the game. I'm taking City in this game, man. I'm taking City with a 1-0 win. I think that they're starting to figure some things out offensively, and I think that second half, Olaf saw what his team can do if they play open. So I think you're going out to Seattle. There's no reason to play for a damn 0-0 draw. I hope that's not what they do. It's probably what they'll end up doing, but I'm hoping they play a little open and pick up 3 points on the road.
You know who else maybe coming back here a little soon that would be exciting finally is Jay Reed when fitting into
Yeah.
that wing back role. I mean,
Yep.
out on the wing, especially not knowing what Wallam's, sort of deal with that eye contusion could be. But my thoughts as far as like where they're seeing, like, I know we beat them 1-0 last time, but remember they were dealing with a lot of uh, schedule congestion. They had like 4 games in 2 weeks, and then they were also dealing with like a lot of injuries during that time. We had the 1-0 goal, and it was that Leuven free kick. Maybe they're looking at it as, hey, they barely handled them at home against a big weakened side. You know, maybe they can't handle them in Seattle and there. But as you just highlighted, we're trending in the right direction. We're finally starting to get things a little bit more clicking going. I know we're still dealing with a lot of injuries, but Seattle, they're dealing with just as many injuries as you brought up there.
Yep.
I know, maybe they're also you look at the sports bettors and they're probably looking at the past record where we're 1-4 against Seattle, but past is the past. I don't think you can judge on what we did against them last year as compared to ever what you do this year. And Seattle's an up and down team. They're 3-4-3. It's not like they're lighting the West on fire, and
Yep.
they had a lot of acquisitions that I don't feel like are really like paying out for them as this moment. So to me, I think this should almost be more of a even head to head, you know, lineup. You figure if we win, we're sitting even with Seattle. It's not like
Yep.
they're way ahead of us in the table or this team. I know they have a lot of talent, and I'm not trying to downplay them, but to have plus 500 odds is just crazy to me. I think they're really looking into that home field advantage. But as we talked about, we just went to one of the toughest places in the MLS, and probably should have came out with 3 points there and took, with adjustments, we looked a much better team. So, some things to highlight. I know Mashevsky, for them, has a goal in his last 3 games. He very much, he'll sit in that middle, and they're very similar to LAFC as well. Whereas Giroud, kind of just sits in the middle and allows the wingers kind of do the most of the work and supply him with those goals. I feel like Mashevsky's kind of been that way as well, especially if Morris is going to be out for a little longer. We'll have to see closer to the game time because it's the MLS, and they tell us at Saturday morning at 9 a.m. who's going to play and who's not, because that's why what are we doing? But it looks like they're going to go wingers more to try and facilitate that striker up top. Again, we talked about them last time. If they're anywhere within 20 yards, look for them to shoot. So making sure we're shutting down those lanes and, pushing them out wide and keeping them out wide and not having the same sort of mistakes that we had against LAFC happen against us again. And I think we can really take it to them, because even though it was 1-0 just from that Leuven free kick, there were a couple of goals left on the table, I still felt like, against Seattle. So I still feel like this is a team that we can go and take it to. My biggest hope is we still look at this, though, as a team that is that danger, and we play up to that level and not play down to a level like we did in the KC game. So I'm with you, man. I think similar to the LAFC game, I think if we can keep them scoreless within, let's just say the first 30 minutes, I think as long as we can keep them kind of frustrated, I don't think they're going to be as much of a team, to me personally, that's going to just push you that full 90 the way the LAFC did. So if we can keep them from gaining that home momentum and kind of dull that down a little bit, but not play compact, and do what we did in that second half, just play straight up with them. Try and just, not leave yourself exposed, but don't just bunker down, because they are a dangerous team that can finish same way LAFC did. And if you just bunker down and invite those chances at home, one of them's going to come. And they've done that to teams all throughout the MLS so far this season. The games that they have been successful are teams that just allow them to keep coming. So hopefully you got a score prediction for this one?
1-0. 1-0's my prediction. And man, Cello was close last week a couple times. He's been close. He's due. He got the one chalked off. Yeah, my Cello's my goal scorer. I wonder if the turf plays any role in this game. I hate turf. God, I hate turf.
I hate turf.
Professional soccer.
I hate turf. Yeah.
You know who City's last win was against?
It's sad that I have to say. Was it Seattle?
It was against Seattle. Yeah, that was City's last win.
That was so long ago.
And I will also throw out there that City have not failed to bring back points when traveling out to the Pacific Coast this season.
West Coast has been good for us. The West Coast has been good.
West Coast has been good. Not just road team, middling wise, road team altogether. But on the West Coast, you had a draw against San Diego. You knocked off the LA Galaxy, and you just drew with LAFC. So 1-0 City, book it. Plus 500.
At least we could score out west, so I'll take that.
Now, if they play open, my prediction goes out the window.
Yeah, I think that, like I said, there's a couple factors in there. I think it's going to be keeping Seattle off the board early and then playing straight up and not bunkering down. But I like your 1-0 score prediction, so we'll go with that. So, hey, if you're – I know Dave, DH, you just shouting out those things as he's listening. He's probably just licking his chops because I know how excited he was with plus 400 something against LAFC. So him hearing that, I can hear him now. Sounds like there's a little money in there. I think I'm going to place it. I'm going to hammer the corners. I like it. So, but that was your STL Kalachi preview. Again, brought to you by STL Kalachi. And if you're looking to get a promotion, maybe that's what you got to do is wait for when you're going to get that promotion or a raise or something like that, Dave. That's when you bring in the kolaches.
And then bring in it's like 60 kolaches. Yes. Here you go, boss. Have a kolache on me.
Yeah. That's the way to do it. So he'll pick those up for that promotion at 1530 South Kirkwood Road in St. Louis, because that's where you get those promotion kolaches from. Moving on, because this is Tasty Thursday episode, we're going to head to Felix's Pizza Pub right after that for the Felix's Pizza Pub South End Submissions. Again, check them out at 6401 Clayton Avenue in Dogtown, a City on Tap bar. So, hey, if you're having yourself a night out this Saturday and you're going to be staying up late, no better place to go check out the game than at Felix's Pizza Pub. Be around a bunch of like-minded friends, great beer on tap, but even better, the great pizza and wings that you'll be getting. So we will kick this week's South End Submissions off with our tried and true, the one, the only Mr. Jeff Thornborough. He said, "What a great match from Big Ben. So proud of the way he has been performing. So many twists and turns of emotion during the match. I was pegged both ways several times and was on the edge of my chair while also adding some pacing around the living room during the stoppage time. And left wingers from LA seem to be a thorn in our side. Discuss. Jeff Thornborough, South State supporter, and a great American." Yeah, that is interesting where Boyd down our right side, especially since Tots has been out, has been, an area of attack, it feels like, for opposing teams, which is, was Watts, when he was playing that right side, though, that one game where he was struggling, wasn't he out on the right, I believe? But
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, so it does seem to be that right side that we're struggling, which is interesting because typically you have Wallum looking to go forward as well. So I would say, if anything, we're more attacking down the left, but yet we're a little bit more defensive down the right.
We're just
Hopefully,
not.
at some point, we can
Not.
just get that figured out.
We just lack quality down the right quite a bit ever since Tots went out, and really even when Tots was in, because you had Kyle playing, on the right side too, and Kyle's just not an attacking minded player. And I just, at some point, you're going to get healthy enough to be able to see this full bore team, and we're waiting for that day. But yeah, you're absolutely right. They've been a thorn, and particularly Danny Bouanga, who for whatever reason Twellman has decided to call him Denise Bouanga now, and I don't really understand that. So, but yeah, Jeff Thornborough, great American. I saw him from afar. You pointed him out to me
Yes.
at the Vancouver game, and I saw him
Yep.
from afar. I could tell he was a great American from afar, but didn't get a chance
Yeah.
to meet him. So maybe one of these upcoming games. I know I'll be there on the 10th, the 14th, and the 31st. This is a big month for the 204 Oracles.
Yes.
Yeah, we had
Yes.
three
Love to
games
hear
this
that.
month. It's good stuff. So love Jeff.
Love
Good
to
stuff,
hear that.
Jeff. Great submission.
There we go. Next, we'll move on to Mitchell Douglas Duncan. Lund is currently one of our best assets, so I'm happy he's on our team. Berkey is proud of him for sure. Seeing his performance, his feelings for the rest of the team are likely mixed. We currently still sit with several injuries, but it seems like our guys are, for the most part, holding their own defensive wise, and I'm happy to see our attack getting better. Our team performing better after the red didn't surprise me, as that seems to be pretty common occurrence when this happens, and I would honestly be more afraid of an opposing team getting a red than our own for that reason. That said, I wish I didn't have to take a red for our guys to push and fight harder, and that we'd see some level of energy throughout much more of the match. One big frustration I have is that we seem to just punt the ball upfield to the opposition, and we often see goals scored against us pretty quickly after that happens. I know the play style they use doesn't focus much on possession as much, but I'd like very much to see better tactics taken when we do have the ball. Something I really like to see is our defense looks so much more solid than it did last year. And if we keep that up, especially with Kessler getting back on the pitch, coupled with our attack looking better each game, I think we have a super solid shot at making the playoffs and potentially doing well in them. I did not realize how long that was until I saw towards the end of the last sentence, I saw the see more option. And then I was like, oh boy, I'm in this now. So yeah, I mean, a couple good points in there. Yeah, we are dealing with some injuries. It seems to be, but at the same time, it's just, this is where you got to try and build up that depth, because as we touched on with Seattle, every team's going to be dealing with the injuries. It just seems unfortunate that we're dealing with so many. We've talked about many times on the show, we don't like the dump and chase style of play. It does not fit our, personnel that we have at this moment, especially when you're so compact in that low box style play. Then you're dumping it up to one, maybe two guys. It just isn't really working in there. But I like your positive outlook that, hey, we get a couple of these pieces back and we continue to build off of what's kind of been put in place. Who knows what we can do, and who maybe we can, do all right. I
Thanks,
still
Mitchell.
think I still think we're a lower level playoff team. At this point, I don't think we're going to be seeing that home field advantage type spot, but I think we just got to start stringing together some wins before we even start discussing,
Yep.
playoffs and stuff.
Maybe just one. Maybe just one win first. Then you have to have two.
And that,
Right. It's hard to win two games in one day, but maybe just one.
this is true. Boy, let's just get one, for God's sake. Let's do it. Next, we'll go to our man Zach Gorski, the possible coach until he blew it with his take on flats last week. But we'll still give him a
Wait,
shout. He said
he had
it's
a
not.
take on flat. Wait a minute. Wait, pause, time out. Gorski had a take on flats.
Yeah, and I'm just now realizing as I'm reading this that he's doubling down on it. Last week he said something
Oh,
about
so,
team
so give me
flats.
some context. Give me a Reader's Digest version of what he said last week, because I don't even listen to my own show. Sorry.
He's he said basically like he ended something with hashtag team flats at the end of his submission, and
Okay, good start,
we
Gorski.
both
Well done.
we we both Dave and I were both like, this is the wrong episode for you to be shouting those things out because we're two drummies over here.
Oh,
Well,
that's great
he's
stuff.
back. He took
He's
it
back.
personally. He said it's not even up for debate at this point, boys. Flats are the choice, hands down. Way better skin to
Yes,
meat ratio,
Gorski.
less cartilage to break down, better flavor experience. Lazy eaters that don't prefer quality prefer drummies. Drummy and dummy aren't that far off. And then
Oh shit.
to really rub it in, my wife commented on that and said facts. So it's just like, dude, what's even going on here? So Gorski, as he holds up
Gorski.
his Team Flats sign here, it's
Gorski.
just
I love it. I
yeah.
ripped it off the wall so I could pull it up. That's
You
fantastic.
did. I wish
Ripped it
when
off
you
the
did that, the whole rest of that whole wall just came down on top of you, and it would have been. But yeah,
Man, that's harsh.
he I think we first you guys were making fun of, you were like saying that he needs to have a beard if he wants to be a coach on this, and I thought that would deflect away from us, but no, he the wing thing he came back with. You know what, Gorski?
Gorski, my man.
I'm coming back with a whole 8 bars rap with something about flats eaters next week, since you said drummy and dummy rhyme. Aren't
That's
too far
really
off,
good. That's really strong. Gorski just might have just hopped up into the top 2 or 3 of submitters. Gorski's in the conversation now with Sly Fox and Femney.
maybe for one of us on the show. Next we'll go to another solid, and he's the lover of mythical combat. It's Ryan Cadlick.
Oh
He said,
yeah.
first off, some crazy rumors were going around last week that I'm a split personality of the double MCB, the best in the business. Now, what is going on here? He said, this is like your favorite episode ever. He said,
It's
here's
so
two
good.
statements. Here's 2 statements to hopefully prove that I'm not. Number 1, I'm a full-fledged member of Team Drummy. That's right. Get them flats out.
All
He
right.
says.
Shut it down.
He said, number 2, I don't like ranch. Do with those statements what you want, because Dave and I have never been in the same room together. This is true. He said, second off, here's this week's fantasy matchups. Choose your winners wisely, as the winner will be entered into the Tournament of Champions. This week, we're going with characters from Adam Sandler movies. So again,
right.
1v8, 2v7, 3v6, and 4v5. So we've got at the number 1 seed. Now, I think his seeding's a little off, but he has been saying in the past, don't get too caught up in the seeding. He said, so at number 1, we've got Billy Madison from, of course, Billy Madison. Number 2, we've got Happy Gilmore. 3, we've got Sonny Koufax from Big Daddy. Number 4, Robbie Hart from The Wedding Singer. Number 5, Longfellow Deeds from Mr. Deeds. 6, Paul Crew from The Longest Yard. 7, Nicky from Little Nicky. And 8, just hosed with his seating, the Bobby Boucher Jr. from The Waterboy. So starting out, we've got the 1v8. We've got Billy Madison taking on Bobby Boucher. To me, this seems like a layup. But
This
Nate,
is
you're
this
thinking
is
about
this
this.
is a seating nightmare though. Like I get that he
Yeah,
says
I
don't
think-
pay attention to the seating, but let's first of all start there. So your number 1 has got to be Happy. Happy took his skate off and tried to stab a guy. He's the only guy ever tried to do that. So he's got to be your number
also-
1.
He also knows that there's 364 days until the next hockey tryout, and by
Yeah.
doing practice, he takes
Yeah.
baseballs from a batting cage to the
Yeah.
chest. So yeah,
So-
we're not going to
and-
get caught up in the seating.
Yeah, and I think you could make an argument that Nicky is also should be a number 1. I mean, it's like he's the son of Satan. I mean,
He's the
that's-
son of Satan.
Okay,
He's-
I'm sorry. I'm getting bogged down in the seating. I just wanted to put those out there.
Yeah. So we'll go. So we got Billy Madison taking on Bobby Boucher Jr. So to me, this is a Bobby Boucher
But he's got to get
Waterboy.
angry. He's got to get angry though. But Billy never showed any propensity for violence.
But Billy is like a constant prankster. He's gonna get happy.
Okay,
Of
that's
all
a good
people
point.
who's gonna say water, of all people who's gonna sit there and what is that? Like I could see him in his little like making
But
fun,
he's
like as he's squirting sunscreen
yeah,
on
but
his.
he's running a hotel empire now. Yeah, I guess I'll give it to Bobby. The seating is really messed up. Like you said, we got to
Yeah,
ignore seating.
I agree.
Yeah, but
So
yeah, we'll
next
give it
we've
to
got
Bobby.
Happy Gilmore. This is a big one. Happy Gilmore taking on Nikki from Little Nicky.
Oh my God! See, he put my one against my two.
Yeah,
God, you know,
this is a championship matchup right there.
like he's got satanic
It's
powers.
I would
He
say,
could he summoned
but
Ozzy
he's
Osbourne for God's sakes.
but he's so nice. He doesn't want to
Yeah,
be mean. He doesn't. He tries to use his angel side. What is that? His mom's side. He wants to be
yeah,
part of his
yeah.
mom's
Reese
side more than
Witherspoon's his
that. So
mom. Yeah.
yeah, maybe Happy takes this one just because he's always
But Happy's nice too. Happy took
angry.
care of his grandma. I'm going with Nikki. I'm going with Nikki.
You're going Nikki. Oh
Yeah.
man, this is tough because I was gonna go Happy just because
We
Nikki
don't have
doesn't.
we
There's
don't
more.
have a third.
I know there's more angry. There's more angry Happy moments than there are angry Nikki moments.
That's true.
You know what I'm
That's
saying?
true.
So I feel like the violence, if anything, like you said, he took his skate off to try and stab
Yeah,
somebody.
you know what? You swayed me. I'm going Happy. You swayed
All
me. I
right,
changed my vote.
good.
Yep.
Thank God, because I didn't know how we were going to do that if not. Next, we're going Sonny Koufax from Big Daddy taking on Paul Crew from The Longest Yard. So for me, I'm going Sonny Koufax on this because I know you and I both know that when a toddler or a young kid gets you to that point, you are in fighting shape. So when they push you to that,
Yeah,
kangaroo
but
song, you're ready
Paul
to
Crew was a
go.
professional football player, though. I don't know,
Yeah,
man.
but again, where was the like truly angry sides of Paul? Plus, he quit on his team. He
Yeah.
came back eventually, but there
All
was
right,
that little bit in there.
because I have to agree with you. Because if I don't, we'll be here forever. I'll go with Sonny.
All right, so we're 1, 2, 3 so far, and then we've got Robbie Hart from the Wedding Singer taking on Longfellow Deeds from Mr.
That's
Deeds. I
Deedsy.
feel like, yeah,
Deedsy.
I'm
Deedsy
going.
put some beatings on some people. Yeah.
He puts a beating on him, and then he hands him a greeting card right
Yes,
after he
exactly.
beats him
Yep.
out. So,
And
all
Robbie's
right, so we've got
he's a lover. He's not a fighter for
oh
sure.
a whole way through, whole way through.
Shout
So
out to
next
that
we've
movie
got
though. By the way, Wedding Singer is
oh
awesome.
underrated,
Outstanding
underrated.
movie.
I agree, I agree. Next we've got Billy Madison taking on Longfellow Deeds.
Oh, Deedsy. Deeds. No. Billy lost.
No, sorry, excuse me. They're both
Yeah.
BBs or B. So Bobby Boucher taking on
Oh God,
Long
this is
Longfellow
strong.
Deeds.
This is
This is a
so
both one where they're
strong.
both very chivalrous,
Oh,
and when
Deedsy's
they get
such a nice
chivalrous,
guy.
they are very dangerous.
But
Because yes,
the X
but
factor is Bobby's girlfriend that at any time
yes,
would just want me to kill them. That's she could just take a knife out
she's
and just be like done with it. She's an X
what do
factor,
they
man.
call that in wrestling? The
The
guy who like
valet.
mics
She's the
is that what it is?
valet.
The
Yeah.
mic guy to the
Yeah.
talent or whatever, and they
She's the
come in
Paul
and
Heyman. She's the Paul Heyman,
yes, they
the
throw
Paul
they
Bearer,
throw the
the
chairs in the
valet. Yeah.
ring and all that.
Yep.
She's that guy. So yeah, I think Bobby Boucher's got that working
You
for
think
him. So
Bobby takes it? All right.
I
I
think
agree
I'm
with that.
going
Yeah.
Bobby Boucher.
Sorry, Deedsy.
Now we've got a tough one. We've got Happy Gilmore taking on Sonny Koufax from Big Daddy.
No,
So
it's happy. It's happy.
Happy.
Happy all the
So
way.
in our final, we've got Bobby Boucher taking on Happy Gilmore, the
That's
1-2
happy.
seed.
Happy
Yeah,
takes it.
you going
Happy
Happy
takes it.
Gilmore?
Yeah, he's still the only guy ever to take his skate off and try to stab somebody.
Still, I
That's
mean
that's all there is. He took out the gator that killed Chubbs. I mean,
yes, this
he
is
put it. He
true.
just yeah. He well, you know what? You know who the real champ is here? Is Bob Barker. Bob
Yeah,
Barker.
yeah,
Bob Barker's the
yeah.
heavyweight champion here. So
Yes,
I
Bob
don't know,
Barker
man.
put Happy in his place.
He
Yes,
did.
I can't wait
But
for
I
Happy.
still think it's it's Happy. That's how Happy he's got it. As long as he doesn't have to fight Bob Barker, he's good.
This is true, and unfortunately he can't anymore. So, although
Oh,
I can't wait for Happy Gilmore 2. That is going to be. I
it's
feel like
all the movies to not make a sequel about. That's the one for sure.
I just think they took too long. I think it would have been
Yeah,
greater
yeah, yeah,
earlier. Same way, I'm worried it's going to be like a Dumb and Dumber, where they waited
yeah,
so long that by the time it came out, it was just not as good. But here's to hoping. I love me
yeah.
some Adam Sandler movies. I'm curious to. I'm gonna after this. I'm gonna have to go back and see like. I wonder if there are any other Adam Sandler characters that would have been great to
There
throw
are,
in there.
yeah, there are a couple if we thought about it. I was thinking about Chuck from Chuck and Larry because he was kind of a tough guy.
Yeah, that'd
But
be a good
there's,
shout.
yeah, there are some other ones I could think about. But yeah, for top eight, that's a solid top eight.
That's a
Cadillac.
solid
But
top
I'm going to
eight.
need
Yeah.
you to revisit two parts of that. Number one, your seating needs work. Number two, your wing, your choice of wing is disgusting, and you need to reevaluate everything about your life. If you're first of all dyed in the wool team flat or team drummies, like that's, yeah.
Tell you a
You know who you
bracket
need to,
I've got
who you
for
need
you.
to talk to? You need to talk to Gorski,
I tell
Catholic.
you a bracket I've got for you there. It's the next bracket's going to be Gorski taking on Cadlick, and then it'll go Drummy
Just
versus
one on
Flats.
one.
Yeah, one on
Just one
one.
on one.
Yeah.
I
I tell
love
you
it, dude.
what, both for this Happy Gilmore, that bracket, as well as just putting in Gorski versus Cadlick in a wing final. I would love to see the Chat GBT write out that David would read for that one.
Dude,
That would be
with the next
phenomenal.
bracket that we maybe let the season play out a little more. We need an end of season submitter bracket. That's what we need.
Okay.
That's what we'll get to.
Yeah.
We'll get into an end of season submissions bracket. That should be like at the very end of the season, like when they get to like whether or not playoffs, like as we move to like one episode a week. That's
Yeah.
that's the play right there.
Yeah, but the problem is then submissions from here on out are going to be like, yeah, I just had a question about the goalkeeping. By the way, I'm 6'4" and I've been taking jujitsu for the past 8 years. I have also been. They're giving their stats as they're putting
We'll
in the submission.
decide.
That'd
We'll
be great.
decide who would
There we go.
prevail in combat. There you go.
There we go. There we go. Next, we'll bounce our way over to Twitter and Alan Anani. He said a tough first 45. However, we came out strong in the second 45. Even with 10 men down, we were strong. Then, unfortunately, a bad pass and a Boanga broke through, and we looked scared all of a sudden. I believe that was due to the PK earlier. Props to Big Ben. Definitely the best backup keeper. I mean, he's definitely making a pretty good case for himself as the best backup keeper in the league. I mean,
Yeah.
I like I said with Big Ben, the biggest thing is just that I've loved seeing is the amount of confidence just from the outside and the fans. Like you look at last year, Ben getting a start or anything like that, taking in Berkey, people were freaking out and just already giving up on us throughout the game. Now there's just so much confidence in Big Ben, as well as earning that man of the match performance. It's just great to see. He seems like such a good
Yeah.
guy. I
Yeah.
know he's done stuff for fans and stuff like that as far as getting like jerseys back that were signed. I believe that story was last year that the guy lost his jersey in the
Yep.
away game. Like, so super good that he's finally getting his flowers. And then the last one I have on Instagram comes from our man Fetlord Colton or Colton Cook, who I believe is also going to be a part of that May 31st game. So just keep adding to the party. He said, "What is the best ballpark food no matter what the sport?" So now I don't know if he's wanting like specific items or he's just saying like what is your go-to just ballpark food? Like,
Yeah.
like are you a pretzels and like if we're
So
just going straight ballpark food, I think for
yeah,
me like soft pretzel and cheese is
that's a
just
good play. A soft pretzel and cheese is always a good play because it's fairly hard to screw up, right? Like it's
right.
not.
That
Yeah.
right. Right.
I don't know, man. I'm torn between the versatility that both of these items have, nachos and dogs. Okay, one of the
Mhm.
best things I've ever eaten at any ballpark ever was last year at Petco Park. I had brisket nachos in San Diego, and that was so
Mm,
damn good. And nachos are versatile. They can be regional. You know what I mean? Like you could switch it up wherever you
yeah.
go and get the special. Like you could switch it up wherever you go and get the specialty. But man, the versatility of a dog also. Like I sent you the picture of the dog that I had at Busch Stadium a couple weeks ago, the one that had the pico and the beans and the pickles and it was bacon wrapped. Like God, like I don't know. I think nachos are the ultimate play because they're so versatile.
I like your thinking
Yeah,
there. That
yeah,
to me is a good shout because really, even to your point with the pretzel, it's hard to do them wrong. Like, yeah, your
yeah,
chips could get soggy, but I mean, as long as the cheese is somewhat decent, you don't mind
yeah.
an overly
Now
soggy
that
chip.
they
And
do,
then,
you do bring up an excellent point that with nachos, you got to get after them fairly quick. If you let them settle
yeah,
and the chips get soggy or the cheese gets cold, then it
yes,
loses a
that's
lot of
more the
its.
key.
Now that's where the dog to me has the advantage because I'm not waiting. When I get that dog, I'm woofing that dog like it's going.
And man, I'm curious to get what do you think's the less mess? Because nachos can
This,
get sloppy, but
yeah,
like
it's the
if you're
regular
talking
dog.
about a
I think.
specialty dog though, I mean
Well,
that thing can
yeah. I mean, if
spill
you're gonna get
out and then
crazy
you're
with it, yeah, that thing that I had at Busch Stadium, I had to eat it with a fork. Like that thing was
did you? Yeah.
wild. No, that's a really good one, Colton. Because ballpark food, it's gotten so diverse. Like you don't go places and they don't just have the basics anymore. I mean, you just
I would
like
say they're
city
getting away
like
from like
yeah, as much as we like City Park is definitely like exceptional in the selections, but like parks now, a lot of parks have a ton of selection and include a lot of regional stuff. You know what I mean? Like you can go to Kansas City and get, Kansas City barbecue it at Kaufman at
mhm,
Arrowhead. Like, and when we went to Milwaukee, they've got the foot long Sheboygan.
yep.
You go out to Seattle and you can get all kinds. You can get like sushi and I think you can get like some kind of lobster stuff. You know what I mean? It's
Even yeah,
the
St.
stadium
Louis.
sporting events have become so much less about the game and more about the spectacle of the event that these
Yeah.
teams and these stadiums have had to like branch out and be like, okay, we're going to offer more than just plain old ballpark food because if not, half the people that we have aren't going to be interested. That's
Mm.
and this is by no means a specialty item, but the rise in popularity of pizza at sporting events is kind of indicative of that because you've got a lot of kids and kids.
Mhm.
Well, everybody loves pizza, but kids, especially you got one like mine who don't eat a lot. Well, go to a ballpark. You don't like hot dogs. You don't like nachos. We'll get you a piece of pizza.
Yep. No, I think also too, like even Bush now, I think they added like what crumble cookie and like
Yep.
Mission Taco. Like
Yep.
it is that going to be like our old thing when it comes to sports? Like back in my day, you could only get a pretzel and a hot dog at the concessions. Like it's you're right. It is more stadiums are catering to a night out rather than
Yeah.
the sport itself. They're looking at trying to like, and it's something that people brag about as well as being like, look at what all my stadium offers and all that type of stuff. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
yeah, I think as far as ballpark feud, it's kind of shifting away from the classics and kind of getting into you know, a lot of these specialty items and specialty, which I love. I love seeing more local spots getting a little bit more um, show, and I think it adds to the flair of each stadium that people go to is like a little bit of show off of that local cuisine or whatever it may be. So yeah, that is a good one, Colton. I like the fact that it was such a simple question, but the breakdown that we had to do between each different item was
Yeah.
great.
That's what we're here for. We're not here for soccer. We're here for food and ballpark experience
Oh,
for
this is
sure.
no, this is Thursday's episode where people come here to ask us which mythical character would beat up another mythical character, and then
Yeah.
what food that we're eating each week.
Yeah. What
So
mythical
those are the
food would beat
ones.
up another food? And yeah.
This is true. We've even delved into the realm of mythical food combat coming our way. So
Yeah.
that's hilarious. So Dave, what do you have for us on the Reddit and I guess Discord now as well?
Well, let's start with Reddit and we'll get to Discord. So, the first one on Reddit from Flip Flop Kitten Hands checking back in.
Ah, yeah.
This is more of just an overall comment on everything, but a good submission nonetheless. I'm confused about what emotions I feel. I'm happy to see Olaf have the guts to make the tactical change at the half, given how poor the first 45 were. Happy we got a point on the road. Happy Lund's still on his head. But I'm upset we didn't get 3 points. Upset Yara and Morales continue to play because we aren't healthy enough to bench them. Bing! Ultimately, I'm jealous we don't have a player like Bouanga. He's everything Olaf Ball is not. Yours truly, Flip Flop, an above average name, below average American. That's so good. I will say you are also an exceptional American, Flip Flop, and definitely an above borderline elite name that if we weren't a family show, a family podcast, Southend Supporters After Dark, you are top of the list as far as submitter
name
names
getting
go.
read.
So,
first name off the block each week.
Can you imagine? The point about Bouanga, I love that. God, as excited as we get about Celio when he gets in the open field, can you imagine having Denny Bouanga charging towards you on the south end, charging towards you and David? Because that's exactly where he'd be coming when they were attacking the south end. You've seen it on the other end. It's terrifying. But, God, someday, there's going to be that player. It's just a matter. It's a matter of if. It's a matter of when. When you get that player that's just holy hell, this dude is electric, and oh God, it's got to be so.
I think you're right.
I hope that LAFC recognizes what they have.
Yeah, I think you're right. Where Celio at this moment is the closest we have to that, to where it's just somebody that you're excited to see every time they have the ball at their feet, just because you don't know what's going to happen. Yeah. But we don't have somebody, and yet, to your point, that is just so scary when they have the ball.
Yeah, that's
pace,
what you want.
Power.
That's what you want.
Pace,
you want
power,
somebody that scares defenders.
Yeah, that. Remember that, was it last year, where the whole game plan was throwing Tots out there to just basically be one-on-one against Bouanga, and then he shifted sides.
He switched sides and he scored because he was on Marcanic's side. Yeah,
but but it's just having one of the I always think about that every time that they do the pregame MLS reel where they have the stars doing the kicking the ball and all that type of stuff. Our representation is Berkey. While he's very much deserving of it, he's a goalie, and while he makes those highlight saves and he is that excitement for us on the saves, unfortunately, that's not where we want to be seeing the highlights. We want to be seeing them on the other end, going in the opposition goal. So one day, I can't wait to see one of those players. Or who knows? It could be a player that just ends up.
You know what he does probably better than anybody in MLS, other than being the best open field attacking player. When he senses a defender being scared of him, and he does that thing that you and I talk about all the time with dribbling. He drives at the defender and he puts you on the back pedal. I'm telling you, man, coming from a defender's perspective, I will let you go to my right and my left all day because I can make a sliding, lunging challenge if you beat me around the corner, or I can hip check you, or I can shoulder you off the ball. I can do so. I can't do anything with you coming right at me with pace. It's terrifying, especially when it's somebody that's got that quick twitch. When his second goal, when he turned Yaro around and put him in a spin cycle, that's what a good player with the ball does. Put them on their heels, man. It's just
explosive.
It's so terrifying.
He comes at defenders knowing that, maybe 4 out of 5 times you're going to stick me, or maybe I'll lose the ball or anything. But he knows I just need that one time, and I'm going to let this thing fly.
Well, and he's going to get 8 or 9 chances. That's the thing. He's creating.
He takes them
that many chances in a game. Yeah.
You also need somebody that, looks at it as, hey, if I get a space, you brought up in I think it was the Tuesday episode, he was never going to cross no matter what he is.
No,
you want that one attacker, though, that has that skill and ability to where even if he does, because he does quite a bit, send him up into the 4th row, you still have those teammates that are going to be keep doing them, because I know all you need is one, and then it's off the races from there.
Shoot or shoot. Right. That's the way it goes. Dave C. 727. Great game for Lunt. Terrible game for the team. Terrible first half for the team. If we're going to be a defensive team, we can't blow 2 second-half leads. Agree with that. And we were thoroughly outplayed on balance. Don't know if I agree with that, especially in the second half. Lucky to escape with a point. Highly disappointing we weren't able to escape with 3. And clearly the overall level of play was not good enough to compete in this league. Can we get some healthy players, please? telling you, I disagree. I think the second half was a completely different game. I thought they showed that they can absolutely play with the best teams in this league in the second half. Keep in mind, Hugo Lloris made a couple huge saves to keep a second goal out of the net before the own goal. So let's not act like this was like, some bunkered in, like this wasn't like the San Diego game. First half was, not the second half.
Mm-hmm.
So let's not get it twisted. Can we get some healthy players, please? Yeah. Can't do it. Can't. That's the one thing that you have absolutely no control over as a fan is the health of your players. And you mentioned that there were some people taking the medical staff to task on Facebook or whatever it was, and just stop with that garbage. Don't be a dork and do that. But rather than blame the medical staff, I think it is really fair to question what the hell this team does on Fridays and why we're not just going through walkthroughs before game days. I mean, that's, I don't have anything, I don't have any solutions other than, hey, go through walkthroughs on Fridays. But
Yeah.
at this point, you got to kind of question, like, okay, like we've been doing this for 3 years and we keep getting guys hurt. Maybe we should change our approach, maybe. I don't know. That's just me.
We're going to try, see what happens.
Juice Man 23. I really want to know what's going on during training that's causing the injuries we've taken, past and present. I'm so tired of hearing about injuries destroying our team. Could not agree with you more. To build on the last submission. Away evening 7447. Very mixed feelings. Happy to get away with a point in LA, but also not sure we deserved it with 30% possession and 62 completed passes in their half compared to LA's over 400 in our half. I think we skimmed by. At the end of the day, though, a point is a point, and Big Ben is back in, and Big Ben in back, is the wall for City we need in goal. On a lighter note, question. Last week against Vancouver, Pie Guy was not in their spot in the stadium. What's your go-to backup food item if your main item isn't available? Was cornered into buying a semi-decent pretzel from the market instead of amazing pepperoni cups with hot honey. Did you know about Pie Guy? This is the first I've heard of that. And we
No,
didn't
I
go to
didn't.
Pie Guy for the Vancouver game.
Yeah, I didn't partake in food that night because I was running late. Man. So if your first option is out, what's your backup option?
Well, I think that.
Hmm. So I try to
I
mix
think
it up.
yeah. Go ahead.
I try to mix it up every time I go if I'm gonna be trying new stuff. So I would say my let's say our fallback tried and true. For me, it's the chicken burrito from Sol Taco. Like that to me, like
God.
if I don't if I don't know what I'm gonna get, or if I've thought I was gonna try something and just backed out, like, and I'm in a pan, like, over, like, my go-to, I know this is gonna be my favorite thing, is always gonna be that Soul Taco
I'm
chicken
not
burrito.
kidding you. That thing was so incredible that I almost went and got another one. It was
It's
so damn good.
it is weird because they're good sized burritos, but after you're
Yeah.
done, like, they are so good that you're like, "Ah, man,
Yeah.
I could go for another
I
one."
wanted
It's
another
like,
one. I wanted another one
mhm,
immediately. So
I'm
right
with you.
now, man, I haven't had the I haven't had the Philly cheesesteak fries this season. I don't think I
What? You
have.
haven't? Really?
No,
I mean,
I
that's
don't
a
think
good
I
thing, I
have.
guess, because you're trying new
Yeah.
stuff, but
Yeah,
that's
that's
surprising.
the idea. But oh man, there's just I think the idea is that you diversify so much in that stadium to where if you're not feeling something someday, you're like, oh man,
Mhm.
yeah, I've had that. I know it's good. I'm gonna go to it.
Yes.
But God, that
Yes.
chicken burrito from Soul Taco is so good. I need to get the farm truck burger.
Yes, I would check. That's a
Yeah, I
solid
have been staying
burger.
away from like full on burgers and stuff. We need to start thinking about the May 10th game and what the meal plan is going to be. But okay, yeah,
That's what I
love
need
it.
to start doing a little bit more, is just getting on the app like a couple days prior. But the thing is, you
Yeah,
never know what you're going to
checking it
be
out.
feeling that day.
Yeah,
But I just need to get more familiar with what each place has, so I at least have in my
yeah,
mind, am I feeling this? No, I'm feeling that
yeah.
though, and I know they have whatever
I
it
got to hear
is.
more about this pie guy situation though.
Yeah, I didn't know they.
If somebody can
I
let
didn't
us,
hear anything
if somebody
else.
could let us know on one of the socials or something, I can't imagine that they're not in the stadium anymore. But that's weird that they weren't
No.
available. Who knows?
Yeah,
So hopefully not, because that pizza with the hot honey is a life changing event.
I know that's like
Educated,
Stan's fallback. That's
oh, it's
South End
so
Stan's
good.
like fallback is the
He might
pizza.
never go to another game if he can't get that.
Yeah.
Educator Guilty 8299. I thought maybe I'm the problem, so I didn't watch and only got updates on the phone. Phew, what a relief to know it wasn't me. What do you think needs to be done more in practice to get us over the ties in nil-nil games? I don't know that it's practice. I just think that you got to clean up the
Yeah.
mistakes. I think that's what it's coming down to. I think you're dropping points out of advantageous positions because you're making careless mistakes at inopportune times. Like you're putting yourself in position to win these games. The last three, you could argue that they
Mm.
put themselves in to win the last three games. You really haven't been out of a game since Kansas City, right? I mean, that's
Yeah.
the last one
Yeah.
where you really would say that they were out of it. And even
Yeah.
then, like
It
there were
wasn't until later on,
opportunities.
even.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no, I think it's just you just got to execute, man. I think you got to finish your chances when you get them and stop making stupid mistakes.
Yeah, I don't think that's anything that you could really do in training because I think it should be obvious. Like, hey guys, we can't make
Yeah.
mistakes towards the end of the game. Like, I think it's just something about getting more
Yeah.
composure, being a little smarter, not trying fancy stuff towards the end,
Yeah.
or that type of stuff. Just
Play
playing
within
simple ball and
yourself.
finishing it out.
Play
I am glad to
discipline.
hear that I'm not the only one who starts questioning like whether or not you know I should be watching.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many Blues games where I've been like, oh, they're up 2-0 and I haven't started watching yet. Maybe I should just leave it. Like it's just like
No,
like
never be that guy, man. I mean, I'm as superstitious as the next person. Well, I am a little stitious, but
I'm a little
yeah, don't be
suspicious.
that guy.
No, no, no.
Yeah. All right. Last one from Reddit this week is from careless underscore square 5378. Celio, as much as I like him, he really checked out and lost focus in that final 90 plus 5. In my opinion, to give up the ball in that way, allowing a quick transition in that moment, is such a lack of focus. What kills me is to not full on sprint to get back in a recovery sprint. Same can be said for Watts and Hebert in that moment. If they recover to the post, Bouanga cuts it back to the middle and it's defended. I mean, that ball. So, okay, number one, absolutely. Unexcusable careless mistake by Celio. Can't turn the ball over. We talked about that in Tuesday's show. That ball moved up the field so quickly that there was no way that anybody that was in the in LAFC's half was going to recover. I mean, the ball was played perfectly. Bouanga in full stride. He had two or three touches until he cut it back to his right foot and then buried it. Now, if you want to talk about Hebert should have fouled him, like we talked about
Yeah.
Tuesday, absolutely. If you want to say that Timo should have closed down on the right foot, absolutely. We've talked about this half a dozen times already. Belong is never going to his left foot and crossing that ball. You could have showed him the inline all day. He's always cutting back
Mm.
to his right. So Timo closing down. Now, those are a couple things that you could maybe point out. But hustle, yeah, I mean, you always want to see your guys hustle and recover and sprint back. But I just that attack happened so quickly after they lost that ball. I don't think Celio has the pace to recover to get to that ball.
Yeah, if it was just a like he turned around and didn't even care kind of situation, then you say something about like at least show an effort to get back. But I think
Right.
even
Yeah.
like to your point, I think if from that moment Celio sprinted straight back to that goal, like just all he did was sprint like a straight out. I don't think he's
Yeah.
getting there before. I mean,
It would have been crazy
Yaro was
effort.
behind Boanga, and look how he burned him with pace and
Yeah.
ball moves better, ball moves faster in feet. So I I don't know if I'm like we said. I think it would have been more on Hebert stopping the play in their own half, and before it ever got to that position, if anything. And then yeah, it was just a unfortunate series of mistakes that were made that unfortunately cost us the full three that night.
Yeah. So we will now move to our first official Discord submission or set of
Ooh.
submissions from our friends at No Goal Patrol. They so graciously have included us in their Discord. There's an official South End submissions thread in their Discord, which is outstanding. And very appropriately, our buddy Kyle Van Clay with the first submission
Yes.
to the South End supporters. This was from yesterday. This was from last night. Or no, from yesterday in the afternoon before the game. He was stoked about this, right? With Fetlord Colton, John Tamison, and and Jeremy, who's Jay Clem, and John Love is John Tamison, I think.
Oh,
Remember
okay.
the guy John
Okay.
Love? Yeah. Anyway, with those three joining us in the supporters section for the May 31st game, what are the odds that we can convince the South Enders to head north for a game? Well, I think we talked about this Tuesday that we are all going to be at this game. It's a day game, so there will be pony and day drinking. And while I don't think that we will be set up to sit in the north end because we've got some friends that we're bringing to the game to sit in 204, so it's only appropriate that we sit in 204. That's our home. That's where we are, and I think Eric and David will probably be in the south end as well. Now that doesn't mean that we can't come and hang out at the north side and before the game starts. And but for this particular game, I do want to eventually take a game in with the No Goal Patrol folks, like you said, Eric. But for the May 31st game, I think a good pregame get together and a couple pints are definitely in order.
Definitely in order. I told Kyle, the tougher thing isn't necessarily because he was like, "Oh, you could probably find tickets," and it's not as much finding tickets. It's now becoming being able to sell my own tickets, which has become a lot more of a tough task this year. Especially if I'm only selling one ticket. Like that's where, for me, so if I can find a way to get my ticket sold for that particular game, I will come join them on the north end and have us a
Oh,
little good
wow. How about
time.
that?
But
How about that?
again, it'll all just depend on if I can sell my tickets because
Yeah.
I'm not
No matter
exactly in a,
what, we have
no
designated
matter
May
what.
31st is an absolute monster of a day. Like, I wasn't super
Yes.
stoked about it being a day game. Now I'm like all in. Like, let's do this. South End
No, it's going to
supporters,
be,
no goal patrol, knee. Let me tell you, we'll
everybody's invited.
probably be getting a
Everybody.
hotel room that night. I don't think we'll be making it back to the east side of the river that night. I'm just saying.
Ooh-wee. I love it. I love it. I love it.
So this was a new thing for us putting out to the Discord, the Novo Patrol Discord, about getting some South End submissions, and Kyle's was the only ones that was an actual true like South End submission. But what I also put out to them, is tell us your thoughts on game day experience. Happy with the shared points. What are you eating at home for away games? And then I threw out a submission because we haven't done one of these in a while to where we can say, hey, we're asking each other this question, but on Discord we could ask the No Goal Patrol this question. So this worked out really well actually. So my submission to them was, and also I threw that out to Reddit too. I think there wasn't any real response on Reddit. So my submission to them was, I've got a submission for you. Bawanga was the villain again for LAFC. Guy just has our number, right?
Mhm.
With that in mind, who is your favorite sports villain who had your team's number? Now, I'll go with the list of players first, the list of players teams first that everyone provided, and then you feel free to answer yours. So,
Okay.
Matt Kahn 461, Johnny Cueto. Hated that guy for the rest of his career after he kicked everyone in
Yeah.
Cincinnati. Ruined Jason LaRue's career, Johnny
Yeah.
Cueto. So, yeah,
Yeah.
that's a
Yeah.
strong candidate right there.
Yes. Yes. That's a good
Let's
one.
see. Kyle Van Clay just threw a whole team in there. He said, as a Packers fan, I hated the Cowboys, but player John Elway, that man ruined my childhood. Oh, yeah. I'm not a John Elway fan. I think he's about as overrated as it gets. And then, and then Jay Clem says, looks at John Elway jersey hanging in his closet. I'm sorry. So Jay Clem must be a Broncos fan. His submission for this was David Ortiz. Haven't a clue why we kept pitching to him. I think that was 2013 where he hit like 800
Uh,
against the Cardinals in the World Series. Yeah,
yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
with you. And he also told Kyle that his mom tried to brainwash him into being a Broncos fan, but his dad wanted him to be a Cowboys fan. So we've discovered that Jeremy Clemens was abused as a child psychologically by his parents, and that's unfortunate. But then he did it to himself, and he chose the Rams and has no team. So there you go. It's just a tough scene all around. Good thing that you found City now, Jay Clem.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh man, that's good stuff. All right. CBPs, as a Browns fan, it's every team in the AFC North, not just a player. that that division, and I know you're not a huge NFL fan, but that division is you don't get more hatred among four teams where the fans than you do the Browns, the
No,
Banger, Go ahead.
my dad's side of the family are from Pittsburgh, so they're
Oh
all
well, there you
Pittsburgh
go.
Steelers
So
fans.
yeah,
So
you
if
don't
there's a
get
if
more
there
hatred
yeah
than between those
if
four
the,
teams. I mean, when I think the best rivalry right now, and I think probably the best rivalry in football for the last, let's call it 25 years, and this is my opinion,
Ravens
and it's only
Steelers.
because it's Ravens Steelers to me.
Yeah, yeah.
It's to me that's what it is. They've both had championships and they've had these classic games. I've been in Pittsburgh for that game. It is, and it was two not. I think it was two backup quarterbacks when I was there, so that was really unfortunate. But it's not just an act. Like those groups of people literally despise it. It has a very Liverpool Everton vibe. That
Yeah.
game does. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
my dad's side of the family, they're from Pittsburgh and they're Steelers fans. And so if I had a team, like I'd follow the Steelers. Like it's one of
yeah.
those where you check every week to see how they're doing. And then like quite a few years ago, the old owner of the gym that I was going to, I just happened to mention it one time. Like, yeah, I guess I like the Steelers. He was a diehard Ravens fan. And every week he would just message me, send me things like if he would always call me the Pittsburgh Squealers every time I came in there. Like he would just like he thought I was
Perfect.
way more into it than like
Yeah.
he was tagging me and stuff. And I'm just sitting there going like, I'm a casual man. Like, but I'm thinking like if he's going that hard at a casual, like what he would
Yeah.
do to like, a diehard. So I know all about like yeah, I agree with you where and especially as like both teams have, kind of come back into being good and exciting the past couple of years. It's and it just always seems like that game, no matter what, like it was a couple of years ago, I believe, like the Steelers weren't great, but like they always showed up against they like beat the
Oh
Ravens both
yeah.
times they play. Like they just always show up. Like it's one of those games like KC, like for St. Louis, it's going to be where both teams, as bad as they could always be, will always show up, and that game's going to
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
intense. You know what I mean? Like that's what you
Yeah.
want in a rivalry. That's what
That's
you.
like I said. That's Merseyside. That's no matter how
Yes,
crappy
yes.
Everton is, they
Everton's
always
terrible
show
every
up
year.
for the
And they
Merseyside.
always, a lot of times, they'll take them to the. It's always seems like it's a 2-2 draw, but it's always because like Everton blew it. Like they could
Yeah.
have won. Like
Did
it's
you
always that way.
did you see the thing on X where the guy he said he bought
I
like
sent
four
that to you today.
thousand? Oh yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah,
So what did he
so
say? He bought
yeah.
10,000 flares.
A buddy of his went. He knew since Liverpool won the title. Worst news, I know. Sorry to deliver that out of all the bad news that we delivered here, but Liverpool won the Premier League title. Nobody cares because it was just a terrible team. Anyway, but this Everton fan went to like the local like stores in Liverpool, bought up 10,000 blue flares and changed the outer wrapping to say red when it was blue in hopes that at the parade where the team bus was going and they were lighting off these smoke bombs, people would be lighting off blue instead of red. And there's pictures going around of like people in the stadium or outside of the stadium popping it, just all excited for the red smoke, and blue comes out. That is the level of S House fandom I strive to be one day,
Oh,
to where
it's
it's just
so
like
good.
it's so good, like to think of like that, like well ahead of time, like it's
That's
just
like
so
it's
funny.
so next level. It's yeah,
Oh,
I applaud the commitment to that level of hatred for another group of fans.
maybe that'll be the next one
Oh
you throw out in
God.
the Discord for next week is like, what's the biggest like S move that you've done to like, just all in front, all in fun, like that. Like,
Oh
what's the
yeah.
biggest like, like changing out the color of smoke bombs or something like that to your, a rival
I
fan just
like
to
it.
like have a little fun. I think that's a good one, but because that
That's a
one to
really
me,
good
when
one.
I saw that story, was just top tier, man. That's so
So
funny.
okay, so who's your favorite player? I guess you could go two ways with this. You could go like a guy that you loved to hate, or you could go like with a player that like even though he played for your rival, you still liked him. You know what I mean? Because he was that good.
Oh, okay. I'll think about that second one because that's an interesting one. I mean, there's two answers for me that jump out. One, just because always going to be my least favorite player of all time, and he was just always just a thorn in our side a little bit. And then obviously the racial row that he caused with one of our players, but Luis Suarez, I think, is just a
Oh
scum.
God,
And
yeah.
it was tough because he when he was in those Liverpool days, he was good. Like you
He was
can't
like the
deny it.
best
But
number
like,
9 in England
yeah,
for a good
I mean,
period of
there's a
time.
reason he got sent to Barcelona. Like he
Yeah.
during those magic years, like, but he just was, he was a scum. I just to this day, I still watch him play for Miami, and all I visualize is him in that Liverpool jersey, and it drives me nuts. And like, but I think, but I think as far as the bigger thorn in the side, and I don't want to say this because you're sitting on this, but like throughout those early 2000 years, those Chelsea teams, just it was always like we couldn't get over the title hump, and we hit our drought like a little bit of drought during that time because like as much as you don't like him now, those Mourinho years, that those Chelsea teams were just so it's just so annoying. We had so much talent. We would play so good all throughout the year, but like, when you have teams, what did you guys go like 90 games or something unbeaten at home? It's just like when you're competing against the team like that in the league, like that was we were just on such a good title runs, and then it just felt like once that Mourinho Chelsea first era came around, it it all came to a halt, and I haven't had happiness since. So I blame you and that team
Haven't had
for
happiness
that.
since.
As I'm sitting in, as we're sitting in 14th place. It's sad. The other day I saw it. It was like somebody from the past would never believe this news article, and it was a news article. I think it was last week where we drew, and it said like Man United are mathematically safe from relegation. And I'm like, why is this an article? Who would ever thought this
Did
would
I
be an
write that article?
article
Did I write it?
wrote like
I
that?
may have written that article.
Like, am I supposed to be happy about this article? Like, oh, thank God, we're
I mean,
safe.
it's
Like,
better than being
Jesus.
relegated, right? So,
Boy.
so you've done a good job at soccer. I'm going to touch on some different sports. So I'll start with. Where did I want to start? I'll start. Oh, I'll start with college basketball. I'll start with the player that played for that I that I couldn't help but love that played for a team that I hated, Tyler Hansbrough. I
Okay.
despise the University of North Carolina and everything about them. Like way before they were proven to be academic frauds and all that stuff. But that kid just could play basketball, and he was so good for such a long time. I could not help but like him. There are three North Carolina players that I consider myself to be fans of. One's Michael Jordan, one's Vince Carter, and one's Tyler Hansbrough. I think Tyler Hansbrough is my favorite one. He might be my second favorite college basketball player of all time, behind JJ Redick.
What a
That's
like
that's
if you put those pictures up and it was like one of these don't belong. Like, you know
Hansbrough
what I
was an
mean? Like
awesome college player. Like he in the, I mean
college,
in the
he was Tim
pros,
Tebow
yeah.
of college. He was Tim Tebow of
Well, he
college.
just his game didn't translate to the pros. That's pretty much it. Let's see. In the hockey world right now, it's Nazem Kadri, the guy who ran Bennington a couple years ago in the playoffs, and he's just an all around scumbag. So one of those people that you love to see bad things happen to him. He might be a decent person off the ice. He's a scumbag on the ice. And I would say the same thing
I don't
about.
feel like I don't feel like there's that big of a transition to when you see some of those
Yeah, I think
players
that the way
like
you
that you
carry
can't be that
yourself,
big of
yeah,
one and then
yeah.
like
I feel like the
just a
way that you
super
carry
nice guy off
yourself
the field.
on the field says a lot about your character. And I'll say Todd Bertuzzi. Todd Bertuzzi should have done prison time for what he did to that guy. God, it's been like 20 years now, and it's still it's the most sickening, one of the most sickening cheap shots I've ever seen in any sport. And that includes like the guy was it Marty McSorley that somebody slashed a guy in the head once. That was pretty nasty too. A lot of
Yeah,
hockey
yeah,
players
yeah.
in there. I don't know if that says a lot about their character.
They're psychos, man. They're
Baseball,
psychos.
baseball wise, God, there's so many Cardinal killers over the years. Like Aramis Ramirez basically made a career of going from team to team to team in the NL Central and absolutely destroying the Cardinals. If you extrapolate his numbers and again just against the Cardinals out for like a 15 or 16 year career, he'd been like Albert Pujols. Like his numbers against the
Jeez, yeah.
Cardinals were absolutely absurd.
Mhm.
God, yeah, that was. There's just so many. Fucking Barry Zito in the playoffs that one year against the Giants couldn't throw hard enough to break a pane of glass, but the Cardinals couldn't hit him. I mean, Roy Oswalt when he was with the Astros. Like, God, there are just so many villains. Yeah, so no, that's good. You could do a whole podcast just on sports villains, really, as far
Yeah,
as that
yeah.
goes.
Unfortunately, though, you just fed me because now I've been sitting here this whole time trying to think of like player that I like on a team I despise. Because like obviously my mind goes to Liverpool, and I would
Virgil Van
piss on
Dyke.
all of them.
Virgil
No,
Van
I don't
Dyke
like him.
for
I don't
me.
like
Oh,
him.
dude, you can't.
No.
He's been the best center back in the world for like
I'm
7 years.
so sick of that. Like, because everybody wants to compare him to Vidic and Ferdinand. Look at the accolades. Get out of here with that. Like he hasn't
God,
like I'll give you he's talented, but don't put him as the best center back the Premier League has ever seen. I'm so sick of that. Like, no,
oh, we're
man.
gonna throw two Man U guys in there because those are the only ones that ever played
I'll
center
put
back.
John Terry in there as well. He's not above John Terry.
I hate John
No
Terry.
way he's like no way he's higher than John Terry. Well, you
Pretty
just hate
good.
John Terry because he sleeps with all your teammates' wives, and
He's a shitty team. That's a sports villain for you right there.
that is a sports villain
What about?
there
I
is
mean,
John Terry.
you can't not like Mo Salah. Like that
I
dude.
sure can. I
He's
sure
such a
can.
baller. He's such a baller, and he's getting better. That's the scary part about it. Is like he's not slowing down, and like
Yeah,
they've
well, you want to
changed
talk
their.
about like somebody who just has fun at Old Trafford? It's Mo Salah. So no, I can't.
He has fun
Yeah.
everywhere he goes. He's going to end up being the all-time
Well,
leading scorer of the Premier
seems
League.
he seems to sure enjoy scoring against Man U. He does it
Yeah,
often, quite often. Man, because even like Chelsea players, I'm trying to think. I mean, I enjoyed Hazard. He was fun
I
to
really
watch
liked
during
watching
the.
Harry Kane when he was with Tottenham, and I really liked watching Son. And I don't necessarily hate Tottenham either,
I tell you who,
but
one of my favorite Premier League players of all time, and we were so close to signing him, and I didn't really enjoy him as much, even though he was probably better at Madrid. But Gareth Bale at Tottenham was just so
yeah,
fun to watch.
yeah,
He just because it was like on a Tottenham team that you weren't really ever expecting to be great, but he just would always like bring them up, and he just with pace. I mean, he'd hit the ball unreal. Like he was Gareth Bale to me was like the one that I would have a
yeah.
closet full of Gareth Bale
That's
Man
a good
United
shout.
jerseys had that signing gone through. So for me, like the player I enjoyed that wasn't on my
That's a good,
team the
that's a
most
good
was
shout.
Gareth Bale
We could
in those
go on
Tottenham
with
years.
this for all night, but we
We
probably
could.
need to wrap this up. But that
We
was
do. That
an
was
outstanding South End Submissions brought to you by Felix's Pizza Pub.
yes. As always, it's one of our favorite parts of the show, and it's growing each week, which I just love to see. I love the the listener engagement. It's so much fun to us, and I love the people who have takes on games. I love the people who have takes on mythical combat. I love just that it's all we never know each week where we're gonna get, and
No,
especially if
no
we
idea.
start. And I don't even know when I'm starting a submission, realizing that there's a C more and there's three other paragraphs to it. So it keeps us on our toes and we love it.
It
And
does.
yes, that is from Felix's Pizza Pub. It's a city on tap bar, so make sure you go check them out. For any city game that you can't go to, it's at 6401 Clayton Avenue in Dogtown, as well just any night. Go get those pizza and wings. It's phenomenal. We would also love to thank all our sponsors, starting with Ready to Live Wellness. Make sure you go check them out at 1530 South Kings Highway Boulevard and online at R2L Wellness, as well as our studio sponsor, Warrior Logo Wear, at 12 East Main Street in Mascoutah, Illinois. We had our STL Kolache preview at the beginning of the episode. Make sure you go check them out in Sunset Hills at 1530 South Kirkwood Road in St. Louis. We just had those Felix's Pizza Pub, South End Submissions, and as well, our Tuesday episode, we ended with that Elite News brought to you by Elite FT. Make sure you go check them out at 101 The Game Drive in Glen Carbon, Illinois, as well as at eliteft.com. So, for myself, Eric Cole, for the Monday Morning Center back, Dave Wyckoff, and our buddy DH David Heck, you've been listening to South End Supporters. We'll see you next week, and until then, let's go City.